All right, everybody, get ready, because today we're taking a deep dive into some seriously wild claims
Mhm.
about, get this, weather control.
Oh boy, this is gonna be good.
It really is. We asked you guys what you wanted us to unpack, and wow, did you deliver?
You weren't here.
You guys sent in some, shall we say, interesting excerpts from articles like Pasted Text and The One Time We Should Have Believed Marjorie Taylor Greene from the Daily Beast.
And they are something else, let me tell you.
So buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into conspiracy theories, political maneuvering, the whole shebang. You ready to unpack this with me?
Let's do it. This is, well, it's a fascinating example of how extreme viewpoints can kind of like intersect with,
Wow.
real world events.
Absolutely.
And it really shows how important it is to be able to separate like, fact from fiction.
Which can be really hard these days,
Oh, tell me about it.
especially with all the misinformation flying around online.
Exactly.
Okay, so to set the stage, we've got these two major hurricanes, Helene and Milton,
Oh.
that just slammed into the coast,
Yeah.
causing a ton of damage. I mean, we're talking billions of dollars in damage.
Yeah.
And of course, requiring a massive coordinated government response.
Right. Tons of people displaced.
Totally. And right in the middle of all this, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene makes some pretty wild claims.
Yeah, she basically goes on this whole rant on X, which, used to be Twitter, alleging that
They. Okay, so right off the bat, they.
That's a pretty vague.
Yeah, it's like, who are they?
Right. Is that like a common tactic with this kind of stuff, this whole they thing?
Totally. It's a classic move. Because think about it, it creates this, like, this nebulous enemy, right?
Yeah.
You can't really pin it down. So it makes it almost impossible to actually, like, refute or even, like, address directly.
Right, because it's like, who are you even arguing with?
Exactly. It's this shadowy figure.
So frustrating.
The worst.
Okay, so she says they are controlling the weather.
Which is a wild claim in and of itself. Absolutely. I mean, come on. But hold on, because it gets even wilder. She then tries to tie this whole weather control thing directly to hurricanes Helene and Milton.
No way!
Yes. She even implies that NOAA, that's the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, might be in on it.
Oh, wow. That's a bold move.
It is. It's like she's basically accusing a major government agency of, like, weaponizing the weather.
Yeah, that's not something you just throw out there lightly. And the reactions, they were huge. President Biden even came out and publicly called her claims beyond ridiculous, which, I mean...
Yeah. It's bad when even the president has to weigh in.
Exactly. But you know what I find interesting about all of this? It's not just about the actual claims themselves.
Which are out there.
Oh, totally.
Mm.
But it's how the Daily Beast, frames this whole situation.
Okay, so they went with a very interesting title for their piece. They called it The One Time We Should Have Believed Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Bold move.
Which is a bold statement in itself.
Yeah, it makes you think, why would they say that?
Exactly. So, what did they mean by that?
Okay, so remember a while back, I think it was 2021, Greene made this statement where she basically said that she and the people who agree with her,
Right.
they aren't just some fringe group within the Republican Party.
Right.
They are the base. They are the mainstream of the GOP now.
Okay, so the Daily Beast is saying that maybe we should have taken her more seriously back then.
Basically. Their point is that maybe we shouldn't just dismiss everything she says as crazy talk.
Okay, so this idea that we should take her seriously, even when she's saying stuff that seems, well, outlandish.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, right?
It really is.
Because on the one hand, if you just dismiss someone outright because of things they've said in the past, you end up in this echo chamber where certain viewpoints are never actually challenged.
100%.
But on the other hand, you also have to think about the potential harm of spreading misinformation, especially when it comes from someone in a position of power.
Right, because then it's like you're giving a platform to potentially dangerous ideas.
Right. And it's not just about some wacky weather theories. It's about how this kind of misinformation can actually impact real decisions that people make every day.
Exactly.
Like whether they trust official warnings about, I don't know, hurricanes,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe even like what policies they're willing to support.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole thing so dangerous, right? Because it's not just about disagreeing with someone's opinion.
It's about the real-world consequences of misinformation.
Precisely.
So where do we even go from here? How do we navigate this world of super polarized information and make sure that accurate information wins out?
That is the million-dollar question.
No kidding.
Honestly, I think a lot of it comes down to media literacy, being able to actually look at a source, evaluate the information, and decide for yourself whether it's credible or not.
Which is so hard these days.
It's not easy. It takes effort. But it's more important now than ever, right?
Absolutely.
And another thing, we got to get better at actually talking to each other, even when we disagree.
Respectfully, of course.
Exactly, like promoting respectful dialogue, even especially when we come across viewpoints that we are like, whoa, no way, I completely disagree.
Which can be really hard.
Oh, for sure. But we got to try.
Right, we do. We really do.
Yeah.
Well, this has been quite a deep dive, and honestly, I think it's raised more questions than it's answered.
That's how you know it's a good one.
Uh-huh, that's true. But if there's one thing I think we can all agree on, it's that we can't just ignore these, like, out there claims.
Right. Like, just because something sounds crazy doesn't mean it's not worth paying attention to.
Exactly. Because sometimes those claims, they might actually be a sign of something much bigger and maybe even more concerning going on beneath the surface.
100%. It's like a warning sign.
Exactly. So yeah, I think the big takeaway here is stay curious, keep asking questions, and don't be afraid to challenge your own assumptions.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's all the time we have for today's Deep Dives. Thanks for joining us. And remember, stay curious out there.
And be kind to each other.
Always. Until next time, folks.